Hi everybody, my name is Rockpaul. You are welcome to today's video. I will be talking about pivot table. Before we start, I would like to share with you things to note in pivot table. These are the three things to note. Number one, each column has header. Make sure that each column has headers just like mine, and also no empty columns or row. Make sure you don't have any empty columns or row within your table. That will help. Then the third one is no total or subtotal. No total or subtotal rows. Also make sure that you don't have total or subtotal rows in your Microsoft Excel. This way, your table, this will help you a lot. So the first thing we are going to do is we first of all have to put our table into pivot table. So go to insert and put it pivot table. You can see table range, we have it from, this is our table range from 1 to 65. So when I scroll it down, so you are going to see this is my table range from 1 to 65. Now the next thing is we can decide to probably new worksheet or existing worksheet. If we are making it a new worksheet, it opens another worksheet. If we are making it existing sheet, it open it here. So we are going to cancel it. The reason why we are going to cancel, we are not going to use this, is because when you do it this way, probably after a while, and you wanted to add another columns or another rows to your data, it will not appear in the pivot table. Because why? Your table is not, your pivot table is not in a table format. So it's always advisable to put it first in a table format. So when your data is in a table format, you can easily add whatever you want to add to it, and it will automatically update in the pivot table. In the pivot table. So that is why I will always advise you, first of all, make sure you put your data in a table before you put it in a pivot table. You can decide to insert. This is insert. You can come here to make it a table. You can also use a shortcut, Control T. Control T will give you put your data into the table. So we are creating a table. Where is the data for your table? These are the data for our table. And remember, my table has headers. So look at it. It has headers. So that is why I have to click here, or it's already clicked for me. So if it doesn't have headers, I'm going to uncheck here. So we're going to OK. So everything is fine now. So in case we put it in a pivot table and we want to add a data to it afterward, it will automatically update. So that is why I will always advise you to put your data in a table first. And probably you don't like the style, you can always come here and change it to the style that you want. But for me, I think I'm fine with this style. So when you look at it, the style is fine. So we can come back here, go to insert. Now before we go to insert, try to name your table. So I'm going to name the table. I'm going to make it table data. Table data, that will help you. Enter. So we have, so we don't have to put something in between. So I just make it table data. So everything is fine. Then let's come back to insert. So you come back to insert and you insert your table into pivot table. So this is a pivot table. We can see we have it in a pivot table already. When you make it in a pivot table, this is fine, but there is something I will always advise you to do. Either you put it in a table in a pivot table, or you use recommended pivot table. I will always advise you to use a recommended pivot table. So let's use a recommended pivot table. You may ask me, why should we use a recommended pivot table? Because when you are using a recommended pivot table, it gives, okay, let's cancel this first and let's go back to put it in the pivot table. This is a pivot table. And let us zoom, I said okay to it. You can see we are having this immediately, but this is not what we really want. A recommended pivot table will give you exactly, will suggest some things for you, which will really help you. So this is sheet 2. We are going to remove this sheet 2. We don't need it. Let's delete it. Yes, delete. So let's come back and see, do we have a table? Yeah, also it's already on the table. So let's come back to insert and let's use recommended. You can see already, you can see the difference. Already we have sum of revenue by region, because Microsoft Excel have already tried helping us to arrange our data. So if you are a beginner, I think this will be good for you. And if you're an advanced user, this is also good. But as for the beginner, it's always advisable to go through this. So what are we going to do next? We click OK. So you can see, different from using the other pivot table that we used here. So this is what we are having. So this is what we've done. So we have our pivot table fields, then we have the filter, we have the column, we have the region, we have the summary of revenue. This is what Microsoft Excel have already done. Microsoft Excel already knew that our region have to be in the row and our revenue have to be in the value. So let's assume probably you don't want the region to be in the row, you want to put it in the column. Look at it. So it doesn't make any sense. So that is why Microsoft Excel have already arranged it to be there. Now, if you don't want the region, probably in my own case, I don't really want it to be in the region. I only want it to be item. So what I want is item versus the revenue. These are the item and these are the revenue. So you can see what Microsoft Excel have done. So another thing that we want to do is this. Let's say I would like to filter it by region. I can just pick this region, put it here. So when I pick this region, put it here, you can see already at the top, I'm having the region at the top, and I can decide to say, okay, I'm using central. Let's see. Okay. And you can see it filter it to the region, the central region. That means these are the item bought by this region. Let's say, for instance, I don't want the region, I want probably the east. I can easily make it the east. You can see. So this is how to use a filter in pivot table. And if I decide to make it a double, probably click a multiple item. I can just come here to click a multiple item, but it doesn't make any sense. So we are going to remove, and if you don't want it any longer, you remove it. So we are having this like this. And let's say, for instance, now I don't want the sum of revenue. Just come here. You can't use revenue because already you have a revenue here. So what you just have to do, you can just put it like, probably I just want to make it as T revenue. Let me make it T revenue. Oh, I'm making it my revenue. So you can see, you can easily change the headers here. So very simple. So because if you're trying to make it a revenue, look at it already. Let's try it. You can see pivot table field name already exists, so you can't use the same thing here as what you have here. So that is why we just have to change the name to probably whatever you want. To me, I'm just going to use T revenue. So we are having it that way. So that is that about that. Another thing that I would like to show you is this. When you come to choose field to add report to concepts, just come here, and this is what we are using already. We have field section and area section stacked. So when we change it to, you can see it changes. So we are having it in this dimension, and probably you don't want it this way. You can also decide to field section only if you are making a field section only. So we are having the field section only. So you also don't want that. You can also make it area section only 2 by 2. You can see area section only 2 by 2. So just come back and turn it back to field section. And you may ask me, let's say for instance I click out of this, how will I be able to go back mistakenly? You were working on your pivot table and you mistakenly clicks outside the data, so everything disappear. You don't have to bother, just come back here, click anywhere here, it will reappear. So that is that for that. Yes, another thing is this. If for instance I would like to maybe I've already have something here on my own, I've already have a currency, maybe there's another thing I want to do, maybe I want to, in case maybe I'm having a sum here, don't forget. Okay, let's take it back to sum so that you will know that it is a sum. So we're having sum of revenue. So if peradventure I don't want a sum, probably I want an average, just click anywhere here, right click. When you right click, go to value field settings. So when you go to value field settings, you can see I can change it to count, I can change it to average, I can change it to max, I can change it to minimum. Let's say for instance I'm changing it to average. Let's try average. Okay, you can see it will give me the average of the item. Now we're having this, and I would like to increase this. Let's just say for instance now I want to make this back to sum. Let's change it back to sum. I'm having sum already, so let me make it back to sum. This is sum, and there's another thing I would like to do. I would like to add another, click back, I would like to add another revenue. This is another revenue, putting it here, and this I'm having the sum here. Probably I want to have percentage of total. So for instance I can just click here. So when you click here, you can easily go to you can see move to report field, move to row label, move to column label, remove field, value settings. So there are so many areas you can move to. So let's just say from here again I'm deciding to go to, no, I'm not going to that direction. Let's come back from here, let's click here. From here we right click as well. When you right click, we want to go to pivot table option. So when you go to, before you go to pivot table option, let's summarize by value. We've already shown that, summarize by value. So when you go to value field setting, you can from there change it to either count, either average, or whatever you want to change it to. And from here also summarize the average setting. You can also do that average, more option, you can do that. So show us, now we are having it as no calculation, but here we want as a grand total. Probably, I don't know if I'm too fast, probably I should come back again. Okay, now let's come back here again. Probably I'm clicking here. Now we have here, this is some already what we are using. You can as well change it to count, you can as well change it to average, maximum, main, product. That is that. When you right click again, so there's so many areas you can change it. So we right click again and you come to field settings. From the value field settings, you can as well change it to count, average, maximum, main, product. You can see, but that's not what we want. So we want to change it to grand total. So come to show value as, we want the value to be showing as percentage of grand total. So when you have it as percentage of grand total, you can see this is the percentage of grand total we are having. So we can just rename this. Let's make it percentage of revenue. You can just make this percentage of revenue. Percentage of revenue. So we are having this as percentage of revenue. So this is already done. And let's say for instance now I want to format it. You can just come here. Don't go to format cell, you can go to format number. So when you come to format number, but this is percentage, I can decide to change from percentage to currency. I can change it to account. So this is where you can change your settings in pivot table. I think that is very easy. So we are having that about that. So that is, you can click back. Now another thing I would like to show you concerning a pivot table is this. Let's say for instance here now we are having this table. Let's just for instance go to your pivot table analysis, then go to, or let's go to our design. When you go to our design, you can see, you come back here, we have what we call subtotal. If don't show subtotal already, you can see it won't, no subtotal here. So we take it back, show subtotal at bottom of group, show all subtotal at top. So that is that about that. So if you want to grand total, maybe we don't want this grand total, you can just say off row and column grand total. You can see everything disappear. So if you want to put it back, you can just say, okay, only for rows and column, only for rows, only for column, only anyone you have, you need. So it will surely gives you back. That is that about that. So when you come to row blank, we don't really have that. Insert blank line after each item. So you can see, you can easily insert blank line after each item. Another thing you can do, you can remove blank line after each item. So we don't have a blank line, so we are not inserting anything. So another thing is going to be, we are going to copy and paste this. So we are going to change something slow. So let's copy this and copy, and let's paste it here. Copy and paste. So don't worry, if anything is showing like that, that means the it's too small for the data, so that is why. So you can just arrange this way. Now let's say for instance now we applied a filter here already. Another thing is, let's just say we are applying a filter here as a, let me bring it back here, the region. Let me put the region in a filter. So we are ready, and I'm probably decide to make it. Before then, let me escape key for this to go. So I'm making it probably west this time around, and I'm saying okay. So you can see it changes everything here. Does it affect anything here? Let's look at it again. I want to show you something. This is west. Let's go back to east. Check this number, 9,332.57. So we are making it east. So nothing changed. So if we want it to affect this, we want the filter to also control this, just go to your design. In your design, you will see what we call, let's go back to pivot analysis. In your pivot analysis, I will also try to talk about this. I will talk about this later, or if probably I'm going to make it in the next video. You can see here we can use a filter connection. So we can use filter connection here, that what is here can easily control what is here. So let's say for instance I'm having it this way and I want to use a filter connection. So from here I can easily use a filter connection that will connect what we are having here easily. So I don't know why this one is not working. So this is filter connection. So insert timeline, we are not insert timeline, we are inserting slicer. Probably you decide to insert a slicer, you can just put a slicer here. So and we are having our slicer as date, column, everything is just a bit. Okay, this is country, so we are having it here. So our slicer that we are using is our country. Look at it, and we already have a slicer. And let's try to go back to design, go back to analyze a table. So filter, we want it to control this, our country. So you can see this actually control it. So we can already, this has been removed because we don't need it. So China, you can see. So this control is Germany, you can see. So Greece, you can see. So that is how to apply a slicer that we connect both together. So, and let's say for instance, already here we are having, we can actually remove this. Let me come back to this table, and I want to remove the region from the filter because I'm not using it, so it doesn't make sense. So we just have to discontrol this, discontrol this, discontrol this, discontrol this. And let's say for instance now I only need, I don't need this. Let me come back to this, and I don't want this. Probably I don't want the percentage of revenue. Let me just remove the percentage of revenue. I'm having it here, and I only need from, let's just say I only need from, which country should I pick? Probably from Germany. I have this from Germany. Now I can easily put this in a chart. And when you are putting this in a chart, if I'm putting this in a chart, I can decide to remove the grant total. Let's just say for instance now, I want to put this in a chart. You come back to chart, insert. You can see you are having recommended chart. You are having every other chart, and you are having pivot chart. If I'm using the pivot chart, let's see what will happen. You can see. And then from here, I can decide to change whatever I want to change. I can decide to change it to a line chart. I can decide to change it to a pie chart. I can decide to change it to a pie chart, area chart. It depends. So that is that. Cancel. That is pivot chart. Then let's talk about recommended chart. If I'm putting the recommended chart, it just work as a pivot chart. So from there also I can change it to line chart, bar chart, whatever chart I want to change it to. So you can from there begin to build your chart. We are going to build a dashboard, but not in this video. So these are just simple things you need to put in your heart concerning a pivot table, because you will really need it for your day-to-day work. And another thing I would like to show you is this. Let's say for instance I've shown you the chart. Maybe you would like to add anything here. No. So design, this is our power pivot. So already this is going to be for another video. So thank you for riding with me. My name remains Rockpaw, Data and Digital Lab. See you in another video.